Hello and welcome to another video podcast focusing on people working within the entertainment industry. My name is James and I'm a photographer and videographer from Greater Manchester here in the UK. My guest today is Zara Abraham. Zara is an award-winning actress, makeup artist and special effects makeup artist. She has also worked as a DOP and a producer. Multi-talented and accomplished, she has worked on both sides of the camera lens for an impressive list of productions. She gives us an insight into the demanding world of film production with its long hours and hard work in all weathers. It's a world she loves, where professionalism and camaraderie go hand in hand. Down to earth and bubbly with an unmistakable Liverpudlian sense of humour, Zara stresses that the key to success in the industry is to build strong bonds of friendship. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel for more entertainment video podcasts. So let's jump straight into the podcast. Hello, Zara.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming today. That bio we just heard was great. You went into some detail about you.
Yeah.
But could you just tell us and the listeners and the viewers just a little bit about Zara in your own words?
Yeah, so I am from Liverpool. Oh, sorry. Talking about myself again. It's the worst thing you can ask me. This can be cut, can't it?
What's wrong with talking about Zara?
I don't know. Do you know what? Right, do you know, for me, most people would love the fact of being able to talk about themselves and stuff like that. It makes me cringe. Right. Like, literally makes me cringe.
So you don't like selling yourself because you're obviously a
yeah,
makeup artist and
people
effects.
sell themselves and they can be a bit too cocky, a bit too forward and stuff like that. I'm not one to judge. But you do see a lot of it in the industry and it does make you cringe. So I've always been a bit more reserved about myself.
So you do it deliberately because you're shy or because
no, I'm far from shy. Far from shy. I really hate talking about myself.
Okay, so if we take it gently then, just tell us a little bit about Zara, starting from the age of 6.
From the age of 6. Oh, God. No. You're in for it there.
No, just a little bit about Zara, the actress, the producer, the makeup artist, the special effects makeup artist.
Just say, obviously what I do and stuff like that. Okay, so we'll go from the top then.
I'm still going to put all that in.
Oh, don't. Please. Oh, please don't. Don't. I'm a hair and makeup artist from Liverpool. Do special effects. I'm an actress. I've been a DOP before. I've helped produce films. I've worked in the fashion industry. You name it, when it comes to makeup, I've done it. The only thing I haven't done at the minute is own my own makeup brand, and that's my route of plan. That's the next plan to do, yeah. So. Oh, right. Oh, well, I'm asking you that further on. I'm going to ask you about your future plans. So we won't jump ahead to that. So, well, when did you start thinking, I want to work in the entertainment industry? To be fair, it was my daughter. So as a young girl growing up, I was never interested in anything to do with makeup. I was a bit of a tomboy. I wanted to go in the military. And then obviously, life went a different path. I ended up having my daughter at the age of 19. By the time she turned, it must have been about 6, something like that. She come home, I remember, and she had a bright red lip gloss. She had it all over her face and it was all over the school uniform. I was like, who's give her that? So I took it off her anyway and explained to her, don't take stuff off other people. It might have germs, blah, 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 blah. She comes home the next day, she's covered in lip gloss again. So I was like, okay, we've got a problem here. As I say, I've never been one for makeup. As she was getting older, I realised she was getting more into, obviously, the makeup side of things through her friends at school. And I just knew one day she was going to come home to me and she was going to be like, Mum, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I didn't have a clue. As I say, didn't do any makeup, didn't even wear makeup
because
myself.
Because you were a tomboy?
Yeah, well, it was a tomboy, but I always remember my first experience with makeup. One of my best friends at the time, and she'll laugh her head off listening to this. she was a dancer, so she was wearing makeup from a very, very young age. I think it must have been about 14. We were sitting in a bedroom and she's preparing, doing her makeup as usual. She was like, oh, sorry, why don't you try some? And I was like, and ahhing about it. And I was like, well, I don't really know what to do. And she was like, pick up that sun shimmer there. That's what it was back in the day. It was like a bronze.
Sun shimmer?
Yeah, it was like a bronze and tanning thing. So it was like, okay, and it was totally the wrong colour for me. And she was like, use this and put that on your face. And I just remember throwing it all over my face and then looking in the mirror and I was just bright orange. I looked like an Oompa Loompa. And she was dead tanned anyway, so it looked perfect on her. But for me with pale skin, it was horrendous. And that was it. It completely put me off and I was like, makeup's not for me. I haven't got a clue. Like, I look ridiculous. And I just stayed away from it. And my mum, she didn't wear makeup. My sister, she didn't wear makeup. So I didn't have anyone that I could go to and be like, oh, mum, how'd you do this? Or how'd you do that? Come from a family of no makeup wearers, basically. So moving on to the daughter, I was thinking, I was in between jobs at the time. I've always been a care worker. And I was in between jobs. So I was like, oh, what can I do? And I thought, well, I'm gonna go to college. I'm going to do a little course. Bond with the daughter a lot more because eventually, she's going to come up to me and she's going to ask, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I don't want to have to be that person that goes, oh, well, I don't know how to do it. I didn't want her to miss out on it. So went to college, done the course. Just found a knack for it. The teacher come up to me and she was like, look, you're really good. Your progress is getting better and better each day. She double booked on a job. So she was like, would you like to go and take on this job for me? I've got a bigger job waiting, but I don't want to let this woman down. And that was actually for Bella Marston. So she was a singer. She toured with the Beatles and stuff like that. So I was quite excited and I was like, okay, but nervous at the same time. And I was like, yeah, I can do this. It was a musical theatre one. I was like, yeah, that'll be fine. I can do this. Little did I know I was taken over as head makeup artist. So I hadn't even finished college or anything. I was still training. I think I still had about 3 or 4 months left. Rocked up this day, bag of nerves, met everyone, done the job fully and loved every minute of it. And I was like, oh, okay. I can get used to this. From that, I met a woman called Amanda Moss. She obviously spotted me talent very, very soon in the industry, and she got talking to her, and she was like, "Look, I'm the owner of Liverpool Fashion Week. Got a couple of models that." We're interested in using, blah, 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 blah. Would you like to be a part of the show and help the girls get ready? So that was like a big thing for me. I mean, it's the biggest fashion event in Liverpool, next to obviously London Fashion Week. So I was like, okay, yeah, I could do this. I could get involved in this. And then that's how it started then. I was getting interviewed by the press. I was, in certain magazines and stuff like that. And then that just led to the exposure. As I say, it's always been, I've never asked for a job. It's always been word of mouth with me. It's, right. Someone's got something going on. Oh, we've spoke to Zara. She's a makeup artist, or she's a special effects artist, so she does this, she does that, she does acting. Or because not many people know that I'm an actress as well. They mainly come to me for my makeup, and then obviously they pull me up and they find out, well, actually she's acted in this and she's done this as well. And sometimes I'll get like a little small role in the film then as well.
Yeah, I didn't know you was an actress. I only because the other guests I've had on the show, they've mentioned you as a makeup artist.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I saw your details that, because your latest one is Billy Smith.
Yeah, so that's the latest one that I've actually acted in, yeah. So I play Melissa Forbes. It's not released at the minute, so I've got to be careful with what I say. But it's about a serial killer set in Arkansas. Everything's filmed in Liverpool and St Helens, but obviously it's made to look as though it's in the US. I say it's about a serial killer. He's got multiple murders on his hands, but he actually comes forward to why he's obviously murdered me, and there's a plot twist and stuff at the end, and yeah, I've just got to be very careful with what I say, but no, it's definitely one to watch.
I'll ask you about some others later then. So which do you enjoy the most? Do you enjoy acting, makeup artists, producing? Which? Oh,
yeah, that's such a hard one. Probably the acting side of it, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I love my makeup. And if someone did say to me, look, do you want the acting part or do you want the makeup part? I'm always going to say the makeup part, even though we enjoy the acting side of it more. It's a lot less stressful. So yeah, I prefer the acting part, but I'm always going to stick to my makeup, yeah.
And where does the special effects makeup artist come into that?
So it was just an add-on for me in college. Obviously got my qualifications for hair and media makeup, and obviously I was doing the photo shoots. I didn't really want to progress any further than that because I held the qualification that I wanted at the time, and you know I was doing things. It wasn't until I wanted to get involved with films, because obviously I'd done everything in that side of the industry, and it started getting a little bit not boring, but same thing, different day. And I just wanted to progress, and the only thing I hadn't done was film. But obviously you need different qualifications for that as well. So then that's obviously when I had to go away and I had to train and I had to do the special effects side of things. And that's actually taken over the makeup side of things because I love that a lot more. If someone says to me, oh, we're going to do a 1960s period drama or we're going to do a horror film, like I'm there on the horror film. I love the more blood and gore and guts and all that stuff. That's me.
Because in the one I know that you've worked on, you've actually stuck a screwdriver into someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that hard to do?
It's tricky more than anything. So on that, we used a full-length screwdriver, and then we bought a screwdriver that was only half the size. So you obviously see the actor with the full screwdriver to begin with, but then when it's pierced into him, it's actually bonded onto his skin. It's not actually piercing in the skin, but it looks as though,
So is it expensive to train as a makeup artist stroke SFX artist?
It can be. It depends on your age, really. Obviously, if you go to college, straight from school into college, you get, I think it's up to your level 3, you can get that paid for. With me, I was 24 or 25, I think I was. So I was over the age limit at the time. So I was allowed to get my level 2 for 3, but me level 3 and above, I had to pay for, yeah.
So you're an actress on one side and a makeup artist on it. What different personal skills and do you need to be either an actor or
patience
for both of them?
Patience for both of them, yeah. Obviously there's the technical side when it comes to the makeup, knowing your products, your skin allergies and stuff like that, because you never know what type of person's you're gonna be working with, and what their skin quality is like, whether they've got a allergic reaction to a certain product or anything that you work on. It's a lot easier for me while I'm on set. I struggle more on pre-production. So say for instance, I'll be given a script with, say if I'm head makeup artist, I've got a team behind me, I'll be given a script, I've then got to analyse that script, I've got to dissect that script, I've got to build a character for each individual character, like the look of the character and stuff like that. I've got to network with the director, I've got to speak to the writer, because at the end of the day, the writer knows how they want the character to look, and I've got to speak to them and, find out their envision and how I've then got to come up with how I'm going to make that character look that way. So that could be, maybe he hasn't got a beard and we've got to give him a beard. Maybe he's got a full head of hair, but he's going to be bald. So there's loads of different avenues I've got to go down. And then obviously there's the skin tests and stuff like that, because you don't want to use a certain product on someone and then they break out, especially on the middle of set. So there's a lot more technical stuff at the beginning to them when I'm on set, because when I'm on set I'm already there, I know what I'm doing, I know my time frame to get them done and stuff.
So when do you meet the actor? When do you sort of like assess the actor?
It's usually a couple of weeks before. Usually I'll get headshots sent over. This is this actress, that's that actor, and I can usually go off that, what the hair's going to be like. Obviously I can't test the skin or anything like that. So
do you get them to send things like if they are allergic to things, do you?
Yeah. So we do a full breakdown with them, so I'll know beforehand anyway. But I try to keep most of my products like vegan and stuff like that, products that are going to give nutrients to the skin rather than take away from the skin and stuff, yeah.
So do you work closely with the stills photographer? Is that for continuity when he's...
Continuity-wise, yeah, we'll always take photographs because obviously with Billy Smith, for instance, he has a scar that runs through his eye. So that's got to be identical on each take. With that film, there's periods from when he's a young boy to an old man. And obviously, you know, scars the colourings can differ. When you first get a scar, you know, it's quite red. Towards the end of it, you know, it's quite see-through, isn't it? So there's obviously having to build that up and change it to the year and to the look, basically, yeah. So
who else is, as you mentioned that you've got a team, who would be in the team?
So it depends. It really does depend. I've got a couple of people there that are my go-tos, but it really does depend on the job, and it's going to...
The size of the production?
Yeah. I try to keep costs down where I can. So if, say, for instance, I thought that I could do that job on my own for that day, then it'd solely just be myself. But if I needed, say if there was, I don't know, there's... say a fighting scene or something like that, and there's got to be a lot of stops to go in and add bruises, add blood, and then you've got to do another take, and then you've got to stop it again and run in and add more and so on. I'd usually then bring someone in with me just for the added backup, because obviously you've got like all the other actors and that there as well.
That's quite interesting then. So do you have to actually quote for a job, and you're managing a budget?
You'll be given a budget, yeah. It depends what... I've worked on everything from your short films with zero budget. I've worked on like you're in the middle type of like feature films with low budgets, but then I've worked on high end ones where you get a good budget, yeah. So it depends.
So do you compete against other makeup artists to get a position, a role?
Not so much compete, as I said. I've never really put myself forward for a job, and that's probably one of my biggest downfalls. But I've always had people approach me and say, look, we're doing this or we're doing that. Is it something you'd like to get involved in? And usually for me, it's like if I've got a chance to create, it's a yes. It doesn't matter what it is, yeah.
So Zara, the actress then, you switch, you've took your hat off now, you're not a makeup artist, you're an actress. How does that change? What personal skills have you got there? Do you like learning lines? How does that come about?
So the learning lines, that is actually a little bit of a... Learning lines, that is actually a bit of a nightmare for me. So I suffer really bad with dyslexia. Like, unreal. When I was younger, that was what I wanted to be. I wanted to be this actress. I remember saying to my mum years ago when we were watching Coronation Street, I'm going to be on there one day. And I was. But I used to say to her, I'm going to be on there one day. Trust me, one day. And I'd done GCSE drama. And I'll never forget this. I always remember the teacher coming over to me and she was like, you've done dead well with your acting skills and blah, 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 blah. She said, your only issue is obviously learning the lines and reading it. You're disturbing a lot of the other kids in the class, because I used to have my mate sit next to me and say, what does that say? What does that say again? Because I was terrible for it. And then she basically put it to me as, like, we don't think acting's the right road for you to go down due to your dyslexia. She basically told me that you'd be getting a script about that thick. I've then got to be able to read that script. I've got to learn that script off by heart. She basically asked me what I was going to do. Was I going to employ someone that was going to read the script for me? Yeah, I don't know.
What century was this?
Oh, God, this is years ago now. Like, I'm 36.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, she completely put me off it. I was dead good at my sports and stuff like that anyway. So she was like, I'd suggest you concentrate more on your sports and doing that, because we don't think, obviously, with the dyslexia, we think it's going to be a big drawback for you. So that was kind of the end of that for me.
Was that upsetting?
Yeah, it was, yeah, because as I say, since a little girl, it was something I'd always wanted to do, and then obviously being told, oh, you're not going to be able to read the scripts, and you're going to employ someone to read it for you. That as a kid, I thought, well, I'm already asking the person next to me what this line says, and they're trying to learn their own lines, and then I'm forgetting, and I'm like, oh, what does that say again? And I thought, you know what, she's right. What am I going to do? Like, I'm gonna do something that I love, but then all my money is going to go towards hiring someone to read a script for me. essentially.
So when did you just turn that around and say, no, I'm going to give it another go?
It wasn't until, oh God, when was it? It was one of the lads, actually. So I was working, it was Manchester Fashion Week I was doing Manchester Fashion Week. And one of the models basically turned around to me and he was like, look, have you ever thought of like acting? I know an extra agency it was at the time, an extra agency I work for, and you'd only go and do a day and this, that and the other. And I was still had obviously that on the back of my mind. Acting, I'd kind of put it to bed, pushed it to one side. But for me at the time, I was like, oh, well, this could be my opportunity to actually get in the makeup rooms for me makeup, because that's what I was. And I was like, oh, I might give that a go. So I ended up joining, what was my first job, I think it was Hollyoaks. I ended up going. I had a really, really good time. And I was like, do you know what? Like, it's a lot of sitting about when you're an extra. And communicating with networking with other people, like-minded individuals. And I was like, you know what, I kind of like this. I'm kind of, just sitting down, doing nothing.
Just chilling.
Yeah, having a nice cup of getting to know like-minded people. And then I think I was only on set for about an hour or something like that, and it was literally, can you walk there, can you walk there, can you walk, and it was back and forth all the time. But I was thinking, I'm getting paid to do this, so I thought I quite like this. And then the second time it was Tina and Bobby. I was working with Michelle Keegan. Didn't even realise it was her at first. The makeup team had done a fabulous job on her hair. She was a blonde when we were there, and she had all of her makeup done. It was like I think that was like the 60s or something. And I remember going, like, because we were period, I remember them putting this little tiny wig on me, little bob it was. I remember sitting in the makeup room and it was so surreal for me, because that was where, like, I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be that makeup artist. So I was networking with them and I was like, oh, I do this and I do that. And I was showing them different things. And then one of the girls was like, there's a producer that lives not too far from you. Colin McEwen works for LA Productions. Well, he owns it. So I was like, okay, I didn't have a clue who he was at the time. Sorry, Col. I didn't have a clue who he was at all. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I left it. I didn't bother approaching him at the time. And I remember getting this random inbox on Facebook, and it was Bashka Patel from Emmerdale. And I thought, I didn't have a clue who it was at the time. I just remember getting this email and I was like, that's a bit weird. He's saying like he's seen me work, he thinks I've got great potential and, to keep going. It was a confidence boost, but I'm thinking, who's this person? So then I left it, and then I got another message a couple of weeks later basically saying that he had an event. Would I like to go to this event? And it was the National Diversity Award. So I was like, okay, Googled it, had a little look, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm thinking, who's this person, and why would he want to invite me? So I ended up speaking to my mum about it. My mum was like, oh, it's the fella that owns the local shop on Emmerdale. And I was like, I didn't watch Emmerdale, and I was like, oh, okay. And I thought, still a bit iffy, and I'm thinking, why would, a celebrity like himself want to get involved with me and want to speak to me? And, why does he like my work? And I just couldn't wrap my head around it at the time. So I thought, I've been wanting to message Colin for a while anyway. So I ended up messaging Colin, and I was like, hiya, Carl, blah, 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 blah. Basically introducing myself and what I'd done. And I just said to him, look, I've had this, because they were mutual friends as well. So I said, I've had this message, explained the message to him, and he got back to me straight away. And he said, if you don't snap his hand off for that, he said that's that basically. So I was like, okay, and I ended up going. I got to meet a load of famous people and got to network and stuff like that. And then I remember that night when I come home, I had a message off Colin, and he was like, I've had a look at your work and blah 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 blah. And he just basically said he was doing a knife crime production. I keep saying it, I'm sorry. He was doing a knife crime production, and he was like, I
can't change the edit there.
I know. He was like, I've got a knife crime production. Is it something you'd like to get involved in? So I thought, it's Colin McEwen. He wants me to do makeup. And back then, I was literally a nobody. And I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And I was like, you know, bit his hand off for it. I was like, yeah, you know, brilliant, amazing. I ended up going and doing that. And that was like the first big production that like I got to work on makeup wise. But yeah, we were talking about the acting, weren't we? I always go back to the makeup. But yeah, so that's where the acting first started for me, was obviously through doing the makeup and wanting to get into the makeup rooms to obviously network to try and be able to get into the filming side of things.
So you actually mentioned there about social media. Do you use social media a lot to promote yourself?
Yeah, so not so much to promote myself. I am a Facebook nerd. Most of my work that comes through is Facebook related. Obviously, I've got, you know, Instagram as well. What else am I on? I'm on TikTok as well. But as I say, Facebook's the main one for me. Yeah.
You're on TikTok. Do you do your own videos?
Yeah, no, it's mainly, I say I don't really use it for work, but my TikTok is mainly work. So, because obviously you can share pictures and you can share videos and stuff. So, you know, the latest trailer coming out, it goes onto my TikTok. The latest makeup look or something will go onto my TikTok. Same with the Instagram, and Facebook's just a lot more. That's where I'll do a lot of like casting. So if I'm involved with a production company and they need like certain actors or actresses in casting wise, you know, I'll cast out for a lot of the stuff as well.
So are you in an association as a makeup artist? You know, is there an industry body?
Not so much of an industry body for myself. As I say, it's more word of mouth and network, and I've found that I've pushed my career through speaking to the right people, networking with the right people, going to, say, social events and stuff, networking events and stuff like that. I do a lot of them. So
where do you find out about these networking events for?
Facebook.
And is that
Facebook.
Specifically for the makeup, or is that also for the acting as well?
It's purely just the industry itself. So you can go there and you could meet a director, you could have producers, you could, you know, have the gaffers, sound engineers, actors, writers, you name it. Like everyone's there in one little group.
Where do the photographers go? Do they stand in the corner?
No, they come along as well. We have people that turn up that aren't even associated with the industry itself. Sometimes they're just, you know, a bit of a movie buff or something like that. So yeah, you get a wide variety of different people that do come to these events. Yeah, but it's, as I say, it's an amazing to go to them type of events as well, because you're constantly meeting different people and networking, and as I say, it's word of mouth, isn't it? You'd have something going on and someone like, oh, I'm looking for a makeup artist, or I'm looking for an actress. Well, I know this girl, she does this and she does that. And say it goes from there for me, really. And
that's what the industry's like, isn't it? If you know people and you get on, if you work well with people.
When they say it's who you know, not what you know. I mean, there is some truth for that. As I say, most of my work's come through networking and word of mouth. Not so much me seeing a post and going, oh, I could have a go with that.
Are you on Spotlight?
I was on Spotlight. I'm going to sound like a stinge. I didn't want to pay for it. I didn't find it that... I wasn't really getting that much from it. Okay, it was more of a profile to show what I've done and a way for people to get in contact with me, but then I can do all that through IMDb. And with Spotlight, that was purely just for the acting side of it, whereas with the IMDb, that allows me to showcase me acting, that also allows me to showcase me makeup as well, and if I've done any producing.
So are you not under the risk of losing potential work as an actress if you're not on Spotlight?
Yeah, I mean, there has been times where I've gone forward for castings and they're like, oh, you know, if you've got to show your reel, or, you know, your Spotlight and stuff like that. But usually when I explain to them, I don't really find Spotlight useful, but you can check out my IMDb, and there's a couple of links and stuff to obviously my Facebook and my Instagram and so on. I mean, usually that's fine, yeah. And then obviously I am represented by Mark from Incasting, so he's my agent. So I'll usually give them contact details over as well.
And after this, you're going to love podcasts. You're going to start your own podcast now, aren't you?
Imagine.
So what about YouTube? Do you put anything up on YouTube?
No. Do you know what? It sounds ridiculous. I hate being filmed. It sounds weird. It's a completely different environment when you're on set and you're doing it, because you know you're one-on-one and you're acting with someone, and you're told never to look at the cameras anyway, and that's something that's always been drilled into me.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah. So that's always been drilled into me. So you kind of forget about it. But I think it's the interviewing side for me. I don't like being interviewed. It's like it's going for a job interview, isn't it? And they go, oh, okay, tell me about yourself, and you're just like, oh.
So what about when it comes to self-tapes and that? How good are you? Do you like self-tapes?
I hate them, absolutely hate them, because then you can actually see what you're doing, because you're having to do the tape yourself. I remember doing one a couple of years ago now with a good friend, Andy Heaton. He's a director, but he's also an actor as well. And it was like a couple thing, so like me and him are dead close. And it was like a couples thing. I'm sure it was like a sex education advert or something like that.
An advert?
Yeah, I don't know, it's weird, isn't it? But it was something like that. And we put through for it, and at the beginning, you know, you're meant to say what agency you're with, what your name is and so on, and I think I said my name wrong about 3 or 4 times. I mean, we had to keep going over the takes. I mean, it was hilarious to watch back and stuff like that. But
a blooper reel from a self-tape.
Yeah, it was like I couldn't even say my own name properly, because I was too busy focusing, watching myself, filming myself, and trying to make sure I've got the right angles, and you know, you're punctual with what you're saying and so on. And it was a nightmare. We got there in the end, like.
So. You do lots of films. Do you do stage work?
Not so much stage work now. Makeup wise, yeah, I do work in theatre, but I couldn't do the acting in theatre. Like, I've got to give it to them. When you talk about actors, they are actors, because there's no, if you make a mistake, you can go cut, and it gets cut when
on
you're
set
filming.
for the film. Yeah.
So once everything goes into post-production, they take your best bits and then they cram it all together and it looks perfect. When you're on stage in theatre, if you say the wrong word or if you jump a couple of lines, it's like you can throw the whole thing off. And that's dead daunting for me, because I know I'd say something wrong, or I'd jump and skip a line or something, and then I just think, no, I don't think I'd swear. I'd probably just freeze more than anything and look at the next person to be like, come on, help me out, type of thing.
So you don't ever fancy panto or anything like that?
No, definitely
And so I can see you as in a panto role.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think it'd be the excitement, and I can see that side of it, but it's you know, learning the script, and for me it's the fear of, what if it goes wrong? What if I do forget my lines on the day? You can't cut. I mean, obviously the audience doesn't know whether you've said something wrong, but then I always think for the person next to me as well, I might have jumped three lines down, and then that cocks them up then, doesn't it? And then it's like,
you get a kick in the shin.
Yeah.
Well, you've done it again, Zara.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on then. So you've been in the industry for quite a while now.
10 years, yeah.
Has anything changed in that time? Has it evolved in a way that you've noticed?
Not really. I mean, obviously the tech's got a lot better. Makeup products have come a long way, I think, from then. But the actual industry itself now, I think it still stayed the same. It's just, the tech and the products that we use have changed.
So is there anything you would like to change about the industry? Thinking specifically about, is there something that you like and you're glad it's like that, and it's something that you don't like and you wish it was different?
For me, it's quite tough for ego. There's a lot of egos within the industry. I'm one of them. I keep myself to myself, and I like to be around positive people, that are going to push you and make you better and help you succeed and stuff like that. But I've met a lot of people in the industry that are amazing, and I've met a lot of people that will do anything that they can to get where they want to get, and they'll walk over you, they'll use you and stuff like that. So
are they just hyper competitive, or
ego? Like, not to name names, but I worked with a director not so long ago, and he's like, I'm the director, I have starred in this. He's gonna know who he is now that I've said. I have starred in this many films, and I've died in this many, and I've done this and I've done that, and it's like, we all know who you are and what you've done. You don't have to constantly And it was every time he'd introduce himself, it was just...
Was that Steven Spielberg?
I wish. I haven't worked with him yet.
I did. So I was when you said egos, I was thinking it was the actors, but it can be anyone within. From the director to.
I mean, I've found. I mean, yeah, some actors. I've worked with some amazing actors. You know, they're very down to earth, and then you do get the odd. I wouldn't say all of them. You get the odd actress or actor that's a bit, a bit stuck up, and they think
Prima
I
donna.
am. Yeah. It's mainly. For me, it's mainly the directors and the producers that I've come across that have been the main egotistical people within the industry. And I think that comes because they've got a lot of power as well. You know, you've all heard the stories about, especially with women, or if you do this, I'll get you on this film.
Oh, the casting couch and things like that.
Yeah. And like, it is so true. At the start of the industry, I didn't really see much of that. The further I've progressed in the industry, like I've had it happen to myself. I've heard other women, I've seen it happen with other people, and they promise things if they do things, and yeah, it's not good. Not good.
Okay, well, so let's move on then. So in fact, you would change that.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Okay. So, have you ever received a piece of advice from someone that you thought, oh yes, I'm going to use that?
Keep going more than anything. Like one of my friends used to say to me, say for instance, if you like applying for things or go for something, because you know, even if you don't get the job or you don't do well in it, it's like you've still been there, you've still done it, you've still progressed. If you didn't do anything about it, like you'd still be in that same spot, if that makes sense.
So
especially
you've got to develop
the acting
that thick
side
skin.
of it. Yeah, especially the acting side of it. Like I know people that have been on many a castings. They travel down to London to go for the casting, and you know it's a lot of money, and they've got there and they've spent all day there and then walked away, and you know they haven't got the role, and they're very discouraged by it, you know, upset by it, and it's like, oh, acting's not for me, and this, that, and the other. It's probably the third or the fourth casting they've been to and they haven't got the role, and a lot of people will deteriorate from that. They'll go, right, I can't get it, and they'll move on and they'll do something else. But it could have been that fifth or that sixth casting that could have landed you a really good role. So just having the patience to keep going.
So if it's something you really want to do, keep at it.
Pursue it 100%, because you're gonna, in this industry, you're gonna get a load of knockbacks, especially the acting side of the industry.
So that's the advice you would give to someone.
Yeah,
as well,
100%.
Yeah. Okay then. So how do you keep sane in this mad world?
I don't think you can be sane in this mad world, especially the industry. You know, you've got to be creative, and it's I can't stress it enough. It's a hard industry to work in. There's a lot of hours. There's a lot that goes on in pre-production, a lot in post-production. Not so much for myself with the makeup side of things. It's really hard. The hours are long. You're constantly on your feet.
So imagine you're the head of the makeup department again. Yeah. Everyone's just come in, had the makeup done, and they've gone. What do you do then? Do you sit around? Do you chat?
No. So what do you mean by they've gone? So they've done the makeup and they've gone on to set.
Yes.
So we'd follow them. So in the makeup industry, you are one of the first people there. You get your models, or you get your actresses and so on. You get them all ready. Then we finalise them to go over to make sure, obviously continuity wise, everything looks the same. They go into costume, everything looks the same again. They go on to set.
So there's no downtime at all. So it is long, constant hours.
Yeah, not really. I say my downtime was obviously lunch, but my downtime is when I'm standing there and I'm obviously watching the two actors or actresses, whatever, them two doing their thing. But even then, I'm constantly checking the cameras. So I'll be on the monitor, I'll check the monitor, like, does that look right? Does this look right there? Oh, she's a little bit shiny here. So then it'll be like, we'll cut. And then within that cut of them doing that, I've then got to run in and I've got to take away the shine, or I might have to add a little bit more lipstick and stuff like that. So
I've got shine on the back of my head now.
I can sort that for you. We'll do it in post. Yeah, so it's just, my downtime is sitting there looking at the monitor and watching it. But as I say, I'm constantly back and forth. So dinner's probably the only downtime you get.
And that's when you'll get to chat, get to know each other.
Yeah. I mean, you talk in between takes and stuff like that as well. But it's very fast pace.
So at the end of the day, you just go home, you're shattered, and you just collapse.
Yeah. It depends as well, because so say if I was on one of the bigger sets, there's a cut off. You can only be there for 12 hours. As soon as that 12 hours is done, everything gets stopped. Even if you haven't finished filming, that'll get moved to another day. 12 hours cut off period done. But then I've worked with, say, production companies that are new coming up, so they're only doing a short film, they've got a low budget, or they're doing, let's say, a feature film and they've got, say, like a 20 grand budget or something like that. You only have certain times that obviously you can film, because a lot of people are taking time out of their own time to do this. Sometimes you can work for free as well, and there's been times where like I've done like 18-hour days where I've literally got up in the morning, got to set, helped them set the set and stuff like that, helped with the costumes, done the makeup, done that all day, and then we've overran, or something's gone wrong technical wise or something like that, and then you're not getting home till like 11 o'clock or something like that. But there's been times, especially just before COVID hit, I was doing one job, so I was doing a day job, and then I was going straight into like filming in the night. And I remember once, oh God, I don't know, I must have worked just over 40 hours with about 4 hours sleep on two separate productions. Yeah, just trying to get them done.
So how did you stay sane?
You've got to love the job.
Going,
yeah, it's one of them industries you've got to love the job to be able to do it. If it's just something that you're like, oh, I wouldn't mind giving that a go type of thing, like you're not going to last long. You'll do it, you'll get the experience, you'll enjoy it, but you won't want to go back and do it again. Because
it's not just staying sane, is it? Staying healthy as well, isn't it? Because those meal wagons, I bet they just do lots of nice.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've always been kept really well. I've always had cuppa, waters, crisps, sweets. Obviously the meal wagons as well. They come. Usually you get your breakfast, your dinner, and your tea if you're there long enough and stuff. So that side of things.
So when do you go to the gym?
I don't. my gym's literally running back and forth after people.
Running around all day, yeah.
Standing on my feet, bent over.
So as a special effects makeup artist, where do your ideas come from? Because looking at your Instagram, this one's interesting.
That was just a little mess about. And that is a picture actually from a couple of years ago when I had dark hair. That was just something where I was just... bit of tissue roll, believe it or not. A little bit of tissue roll, a bit of latex and a bit of colour, yeah. And it was just something that I just...
And did they come from ideas that always come from nightmares or...?
No, not so much. It was just... I just wanted to do a ripped open face. And as I say, that's... There was no pre-thingy behind it or anything. It was just something that... Yeah, it just happened. Sorry, it's just, there's not really behind it. Whereas that one, obviously, that's from a film, that.
Missing finger.
Yeah.
So do you study other makeup artists the way they do it?
Don't get me wrong. Yes and no. It's going to sound terrible now. There's copying another makeup artist's way of doing things, and then there's looking up Google images of someone that's actually got a severed finger and then working off the real thing. And that's what I try to do. I try and make me work as realistic as possible, especially when it comes to the effects side of things. So obviously that picture there was taken from a film that I worked on, but how I come to actually do that was I studied a couple of pictures online where people had the hands blown off, or, there's...
And it's something that you got to replicate day after day after day, depending on how many times it appears in the production.
Of course, yeah. I mean, something as... I mean, that's quite low tech, to be fair, but something like that would probably only be used once. For that particular thing, it was actually a smack head it's hard because that's not out yet neither. He was involved in something, seen something that he shouldn't have seen, and then someone come for him and they interrogated him, and it was to get him to say
he was tortured.
stuff. Yeah, he was basically tortured, yeah. And as you can see, he lost 2 fingers there, but you can only see one of them.
So are you squeamish in any way?
No.
Because you're researching images of
yeah, I mean,
injury.
it's not nice. It's not nice to obviously see that side of things, but as an artist, I want it to look as professional and realistic. You know, at the end of the day, I want the audience to go, oh, like, do you know what I mean? Get that horrible, gruesome effect of what you would if you were to see someone like that on a day-to-day basis.
So like, the blood and the skin and the latex, where do you go to buy that?
Yeah, so I actually get it offline. So I love Krylon, all their products, and it's a German-based company. The only shop that we actually have here in the UK at the moment is in London. So I'm not travelling to London to get my products, but most places will stock the odd little product from time to time. So I've just set up an account with them and I order direct for them. And they're very good with me, to be fair. I usually go through to customer service and I say, look, I'm on a job and I've run out of this product. I need this ASAP. And they'll get it to me next day delivery. So it's not too bad.
You can get strange things like fingers and...
So that actual finger, I didn't make the actual finger there. The rest of it I did. There was a fella called House of Props, and I worked with him, and I said, look, I need a 7th finger. Could you do it for me? And he was like, yeah, of course. And then he ended up coming in with body limbs, and we had feet, we had a head and everything. So then that obviously got added into the film where you see one of the women basically burying a body, and it's all, yeah. You can't say too much because these are all like things that are not.
So gore and horror is your thing. You would love to look in a major production like that. So if they were making a remake of The Exodus in Liverpool, would you?
Yeah, I'd be all over it. Yeah, I'd love it. As I say, the one that I worked on with Transfusion, as I say, that's not out yet. You know, Mark and Kelly, they were dead good when it comes to stuff like that. As I say, there wasn't loads of gore. I mean, we obviously, there's a death scene, there's a stabbing scene and stuff like that. They were good enough to be like, look, Zara, you crack on with that. You do what you think is going to look best for that image, for that production side of things. So that was nice to be able to go away and go, okay, I've got full creativity over it.
Yeah, I went to the screening at 53.2 in Manchester.
It was
excellent. Because the DP on that, he's a big horror chap. James. I'm hopefully getting him in a later podcast. Excellent. So can you tell us of a funny moment then? A funny moment during any scenes, any sets where you're working with an actors, actresses?
I think one of the funny ones for me, and this goes back to dyslexia because I've made that mistake myself. One of the writers, I can't think of his name at the minute, but one of the writers, we were reading through the script. Well, they were reading through the script. And part of the script, without obviously giving too much away again, was...
Is this another film we can't talk about?
Yeah, do you know what? You do that many and it takes that long to go through post-production, and then some of them like to go on to like film festivals and stuff like that, so then you've got to wait for it to do that, and then obviously it's distribution, and then as soon as it's out and it's done, you can talk as much as you want about it.
But by that time you've forgotten everything because you've moved on to the next 10.
Yeah, you're probably like 6 or 7 other films down the line before then. But yeah, I was working on this one film, and within the writing itself, it was meant to be like there's a choir singing in the background, and obviously the writer himself had dyslexia, and I've found that with a lot of writers, most of them do have dyslexia, but they're dead creative. The minds are so creative. So yeah, it was meant to be in the background there was a choir singing, and then I remember I think it was the first or the second AD saying a queer and singing in the background. And he's like, who's playing the queer? And he's like chatting, everyone's like, what? And it was the writer had written it wrong. He'd said that there was a queer instead of choir singing in the background. So that was quite hysterical at the time. But for me, it was like, I could relate to that because I'd done that before. Not to go into too much detail, but me mate had had a little girl and I was all excited and I wrapped a Christmas present up and I put it under the tree for her and I sent me mate a picture with a message saying like, I've just wrapped the baby's present, like I'm so excited, can't wait to give it to her. And she rang me up and she was like, what have you just done to a present? And I went, what? I've just wrapped the present and put it under the tree. She went, no, like thingy what you've just writ. What? And I went, she went, girl, you've put rape. You didn't put a W at the beginning. So I'd literally sent my best mate a message saying I've just raped the baby's present because it missed the bloody W out. So for me, I mean, she knows me since I was a kid and that, but it was, you know, as you can imagine, we were laughing our heads off. And then obviously to go into work and hear someone do pretty similar, for me, it's just, yeah, it was hysterical, like.
So where do you plan to take Zara in the next 5 years? What have you got up your sleeve? Where do you want to go?
Currently, at the minute, I'm looking into opening my own makeup brand. So it's still very early days. I'm still going through, obviously, a lot of the research and stuff like that on the products. So yeah, that's hopefully in the next 5 years, that would have taken off massively.
Who will that be aimed at?
I'd mainly be towards the theatrical sides of it because I want a lot of my products to be heavy pigmented, which you can get products that are like that, but when you're on set you don't have time to build. Sometimes you just want that instant shot of colour, and then even with products, so you have like a thing called titanium dioxide, which with photography and with filming it creates flashback. So there was a picture ages ago with Rihanna and she looked lovely on the picture, but she had two big massive white lines underneath her eyes. And obviously the makeup artist got heavily slated in the papers for it, but it wasn't so much the makeup artist's fault. It was more to do with the fact that she didn't check the ingredients that were in the product that she was using. And the main cause of that was the titanium dioxide. So the best way to describe it, it's like tiny little glass pigments. Well, it is actually glass, but it's ground up into like a powder, and then when the light hits off that reflects back, so it makes your complexion look a lot more airbrushed. So a lot of people were using that, but I'd been on photo shoots and it happens at Fashion Week and stuff like that, where, you know, the photographers were coming over and they were like, oh, this photo looks dead good, that photo looks dead good, but that person's like really, really shining. And it's like, for me, having known the products and what's contained in them, I knew instantly, like, that's got titanium dioxide. Went and checked with the makeup artist, what product have you used, what powder, right? You need to scrap that and you need to use this. So it's a lot about knowing what the ingredients are and what it does. And I want to lean more towards the film and the photography side of things. So is this because you've seen a niche, you've seen an area that's not being worked at the moment? Yeah and no. I mean, you can get products that don't have the titanium dioxide in, but for me it's having the right product. You know, I want the pigments to be, you know, strong. You know, I still want the skin to look flawless at the end of the day. And just convenience of being able to get it on and to work it in, to blend it out without having to take the extra time for the building side of things, which a lot of people will do. They'll put a little bit on, blend it in, a little bit more to darken it, blend it in. Like, I don't have time to be doing that on set. I just want to get in there and get it done. So yeah. I
mean, I agree with you. Good makeup artists, you're worth your weight in gold.
Yeah.
Because you can transform people. So who's the hardest to transform? Men or women?
Probably women, because there's a lot more you've got to do to a woman. Whereas a man, to say, for instance, if it was just say film or even like high fashion or something like that, you know, it's a little bit of foundation making the skin look a little bit more pristine than what than what it is. With a woman, you know, she wants her eyebrows, she wants the lips doing, she wants the contour doing, she wants that glamorous skin. And
so do you ever get people that sit down in the chair and they say, I've seen so-and-so, can you make me look like so-and-so?
Yeah, so as a makeup artist, I think loads of makeup artists can say the same. You'll get someone that'll come into you and they'll go, like, it'll be like a magazine and they've ripped it out and they're like, oh, I want them eyes, I want to look like that. And you're like, I can give you that makeup, but it's not going to look as flawless because that photo has gone into pre-production and it's been edited. So her skin looks flawless, but you've, say, got a lot of pores. Now, we can hide that so much, but if you were to then take a photo of yourself, it'd look, say, like the negative that you first receive when you've done a photo shoot. And then obviously you go over and you smooth it out and stuff like that. So, yeah, I can give you that makeup, but it's not going to look identical to the photo that you've just brought in because that's been edited. They
come wanting smoky black eyes with porcelain skin.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of contour nowadays. So it's like the underneath, the white eye, the heavy cheekbones and stuff like that.
And what do the men always want? I mean, because looking at myself, I quite look like George Clooney.
To be fair, I do use foundation on men, but I prefer like a moisturiser that's got a little tint in. But as I say, it depends on what you're working, what the job is. Yeah, but a lot of men nowadays wear makeup. You'll be surprised.
So I'm a headshot photographer.
Yeah.
Do you like having your headshot done?
Hate it. I don't know what it is about someone taking me photo. I go stiff. It's like my face stiffens up, my jaw stiffens up, one eye ends up over here and the other one, terrible. I don't mind taking a photo myself.
A selfie?
Yeah, I don't mind that, but actually getting me photos taken and stuff, or like, say for instance, you're on the red carpet and that, they're the worst.
We don't bite.
No, I know.
So would you have a certain look and then you change your clothing, you make your hair different? How deep do you go into the headshot session?
Myself getting my headshots done, it's only ever really been done for the agency, because obviously with the agency I'm with, if I go apply for a certain job or they put me through, they'll send me headshots over to them. So yeah, I think it's two outfit changes that I done last time. Yeah.
Zara, you've appeared in a number of films. Have you got a standout moment you could tell us about any of your films on your list? So if I was to pick one, something like J1S, is there anything you could tell us about that?
So with J1S, so the producer and director of that is Jay Cunningham, absolutely fabulous fella, absolutely love the bones of him. I actually jumped on that last minute, so it was through word of mouth. One of my mates was like, oh, he's looking for a makeup artist, blah, 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 blah. He's got a big scene coming up. So we already had a makeup artist, Sarah, absolutely fabulous. So I was like, okay, I'll get in touch. Got in touch with him and he was like, yeah, like, well, I'd love to have you on board, blah, 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 blah. And then he found out that obviously I'd done a bit of acting as well. And he'd watched one of the trailers that I was in and he was like, look, I might have a part for you, blah, 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 blah. So he sent me the casting over, I'd done it. Unfortunately, I didn't get that part. He gave it to someone else, but he was like, I've given it to someone else. He said, but if there's a reason behind that. He said, because I've got a different part that I think you'd be more suited to. So I was like, oh, okay. And that was playing the drug dealer's girlfriend. And I'd worked with the actor before, so we'd already had that chemistry between us. I think I'd worked with him on, it was Metropolis, and I was working with him for about 6 months, something like that. So it was already built that up. I can remember it. It was the most horriblest day ever. It was lashing it down. It was cold. It was a bit like it was a night shoot as well. So it was horrible. But the cast and the crew that were there, like, I've never been treated like so nice by anyone that I've ever worked for.
Because you were the gangster's mole.
I know.
So they had to be nice to you.
I know, yeah. But like in between takes, they'd run over and, you know, they put a towel around me to keep me warm and stuff like that. They were bringing me hot drinks and stuff. And yeah, we were there for hours filming that. But that was a standout moment for me.
How would you rate your performance there on that one? Oscar winning?
No, I'm one of them. I always think I'll give my best. Yeah, I'll give my best, but then I'll always find fault in it. I'll always go, oh, you could have done that differently, or you could have maybe paused for a little bit longer there, or I'll always find something. I mean, Jay was obviously happy with the performance, but obviously there's certain maybe like little things I'd probably wanna change and say I'm worse than critic.
We're all on. Treat ourselves badly like that. So is there any other production that you have a standout moment with?
Probably Billy Smith. That's not out yet. That was more to do with the character that I was playing. You know, it's a murder scene and there's also a rape scene in there as well. So obviously, as any actress can imagine, trying to play that role, it's a very touchy subject.
Was you the victim?
Yeah.
All right.
So there's obviously, I had to take into consideration, you know, that it is a rape scene. There is people out there that are gonna watch this that have, you know, been through that traumatic experience in their life. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to underdo it. That was probably one of the hardest performances that I've probably ever had to do as an actress. Luckily, the co-star Daniel, he's amazing. He's an amazing actor. I'd known him for about 5 years. I'd worked with him on different productions. We've just finished a production together as well, which he's starred in and he's writ. That's called Our Kids. That's at it's premiering at the minute. So that was. I don't think I could have done it with anyone else. I think if it was someone that they'd just brought in and they'd been like, right, okay, you're going to do this scene with this person that you've never met before, which sometimes that can be the case. I don't know how it would have happened or how I'd have been feeling about it after it. Dan, I trust him with my life. As I say, we're really good friends, and I don't think I could have done that scene with anyone else.
You was almost reaching where you could not go any further after that. You wouldn't want to take the role.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't Dan and I knew that I was in safe hands, I think I probably would have struggled a lot more if it was, as I say, someone I'd never worked with before. Because you've got to, for a scene like that, you've got to have a lot of trust with someone. The scene's horrific, to be fair. I know when we went to watch the premiere, it was the full scene. I know when it's coming out, they are going to shorten that scene down because it just looks so real. The way the camera angles and stuff like that, it's brutal. It is brutal.
So have you ever come across anything like that before where you thought, I can't play that role, I don't want to do that? Or
I watched a film years ago. It was called Spit on My Grave. And it was that was a rape scene. I think it was 4 men ended up raping this woman. But then she comes back and she obviously murders all the men that had obviously done that to her. And I think I only got like halfway through the film and I had to switch it off, and I was like she's amazing. Like, how has she like done that? Do you know, like, because it was brutal. It was a lot more brutal than what I had to do. And I applaud her. I couldn't even tell you the name of the actress, but she was absolutely amazing in it. But as I say, I had to shut it off. I physically couldn't watch any more of it. So that in the back of my mind has always been one where I've been like, I wouldn't really want want to play that type of role, but here we are. I played it.
Okay, Zara, we're coming to the end of the podcast now. You've been great. But my final question that I ask everyone is, if you had the opportunity, who would you like to hear next on the next podcast? If you could bring someone in from the industry.
So for me, I'd say Jay Cunningham. So he was the director of J1S and producer. He's amazing. Andrew Heaton. He created Contained, but he's also in the middle of getting a book released, so it's a comic book. He's amazing again. He's also an actor. He's not long just been on the Witcher. I haven't seen it myself, but The Witcher. He's not long been on that. Andrew Games, he's another one. He done Dandylicious. That's a brilliant film. That's actually a really good watch. That so that's about the Teddy Boys back in the day. So yeah, I'd definitely say him. And Andrew Connor as well. He's absolutely hysterical. Andrew, I've been mates with him for ages. He's an actor. But he does a lot of commercials and stuff like that. So you've probably seen his face on the odd little commercial on TV. But yeah, I'd say them four would be my top four people to.
All right, I'll get their email addresses off you then, and then I'll try and get one of them. Thank you very much. So Zara, that was great. You've done a really good podcast, even though you don't like talking about yourself.
Oh, I hate it.
That was really good. Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for having
hopefully
me.
I'll see you again soon. Thank you, Zara.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Entertainment Video Podcast. You can help support this video podcast by making a donation at Buy Me a Coffee, which is www.buymeacoffee.com/James Video Podcast. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and let me know who you would like to see on a future entertainment video podcast.